my name is Olga Novikova, and in this video I'm going to give you some tips for teaching different children and for early childhood learning. Okay, now let's start with tip number 1. In order to give your students a great motivation, always organize your classroom. You must have your classroom in order and to have all the necessary elements in order to make your students feel happy. Tip number 2. It is important that you always congratulate your students because they need to feel motivated. So try to always give them different pieces of advice and always tell them things in a positive way. Now, tip number 3. It is good from time to time to challenge your students. You know that children really love new challenges. They make them feel very happy, so they make them get motivated and also achieve new exercises and tasks. Tip number 4. Be flexible with your students. When your children don't know the correct answer, don't tell them that they are wrong, but rather try to lead them into a correct answer. Tip number 5. The communication should be always friendly and your attitude as a teacher always positive, because scolding your children is not a good option to foster a high motivation in the classroom. And now here we go with the tip number 6. Always avoid comparisons with people who you think are better students. You rather must show your students' full potential and that they are really capable of being better and be successful in their life. Tip number 8. Always support the children. Give them your helping hand in everything so that they can achieve their goals and objectives. Tip number 9. It is always important that you set limits within the classroom. It will really help the classroom discipline and will help you also make your students stay quiet during the classes. Now, tip number 10. In order to make the child recover self-control, separate him or her from the other classmates and provide him or her with different interesting activities for a short period of time. Tip number 11. It is also good from time to time to provide your children with an instructive experience, especially if they constantly misbehave in the class. And now tip number 12, that is closely related to the previous one, about an instructive experience. So the consequences must be taught in a very clear, precise and concise way so that the child doesn't repeat a negative behavior. Now tip number 14, let's talk about games. The game is of great importance in the learning process. So let your student take a very leading part in the learning process and play with him or her. And now the last tip, but not the least, tip number 15. So always have different materials within the classroom that will stimulate your students' attention so that they can play, so that they can be involved in different games and they can just be motivated and happy in your classroom.
Antioquia piensa en grande.